Well, hello and welcome back. I'm sitting here with Nick Swift. We're still at the Mid-Ohio Race Course. And Nick, it's a pleasure. Thank you for sitting down with me and reviewing some of this in-car footage.
That's cool. It's an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. This is the very first time you drove this car now, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And so everything's a bit new. It's the first time we've ever sat in the car, and first time we're taking it out onto a brand new circuit that we'd obviously never been to before. So everything's pretty new.
Any butterflies there? Were you calm?
I don't know. You try to convince yourself that after all these years you don't get butterflies anymore. You know, it's been a long many years of driving minis. But essentially, it's an information gathering moment, really. You know, we can just look for where we're supposed to be going, look for the corners, look for the revs, then look at the stuff in the car itself. You know, are the pressures right? Is there any issues with the car at all? Yeah, there's plenty to go on, which takes your mind off of being nervous.
Now, were these tires cold or up to temp here?
No, I would say they're pretty cold. We haven't done anything. They're straight out, and I think they were brand new actually. So I remember we got a bit of oversteer on the back. It's a bit loose coming through until we've done a lap or two on them brand new tyres, until they start to scrub in a bit.
How do you learn a track so ridiculously fast, Nick? I mean, you're obviously a natural, but how do you learn a track so fast?
I don't know. Well, you're either going to go fast or you're going to crash. So I suppose we just years of experience. And when I started my racing career as a kid, you know, we were doing a thing in the UK called mini cross. And I was only a young 16-year-old and complete hothead, but every time, it's basically you go to a field, and every time you go to the field it was a different track. So you had to learn the track every time, and you only got 4 runs in the day, and then you got the final. So you didn't have time to mess about, you know, you've got to learn it quickly. So maybe, I'm not saying that that's a similarity, but maybe that's got something there that can justify that.
Oh, well, that makes sense. Do you know who you're following there?
No, hang on, I need to see it a bit closer. I need to get a bit closer, I need some glasses.
Oh, it's Don Racine.
It's Don Racine, yeah, there he is. And there's Don Racine that only weeks ago was driving my car at Brands Hatch.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Yeah, so there's the thing. So the first time we come across the car's Don. So I think he was just warming his car up, or was running the engine in or something. So,
oh, okay.
So we just get an opportunity to nip past him here.
Hello.
Thanks, Don. So this is a really nice bit of the circuit now, coming into this turn 4 and then into the aptly named Madness, which is just fantastic. The best part is go over the top of this rise and it just dips away. The whole car goes light. You're losing traction, but you still keep the momentum going for this. This is another good bit. Sorry, I don't know what this is called, but
yeah,
it's blind, but it's a lot faster than you think, you know. So into another one with a crest at the top, car goes light, you let it blend out. Very, I love that whole section from that turn 4 right the way through to the carousel.
You know, just watching it, I almost felt the tickle, you know, that in your stomach when you crest a brow like that.
Oh, it is, you know, and it's just not quite knowing what's on the other side of it, you know, but we're working away here, you know, and we're just nibbling away a few tenths here and there on each corner.
What are you revving to between gears here? Shifting at?
It's, you know, 8,000 is an absolute max, really. I mean, on learning a circuit like this, we'd probably only be 7, 8, something like that, 7, 7. There's no point wrecking the car, you know, just while you're learning the circuit.
Well, isn't this also a new engine?
Yeah, but we've been on the dyno and it's done plenty of time on the dyno, so it's running and bedded in. It doesn't need any more hours on it.
So it's time to race.
It's just turn the key and race it, you know, get the thing up to pressure. That's a really old GT5 car, I think, wasn't it?
Yes,
SCCA.
He hasn't raced it for many, many years.
He hasn't raced it for many, many years. So. Yeah, don't really say a lot whilst driving around.
No, of course not.
So, but it's just that concentration. So, and again, that's now we can start honing, looking for being right on the apexes and just squeezing the power on a bit earlier and trying to maximise the speed out of the corner.
Now, are you listening for things? Are you looking for things? You're obviously trying to feel for things. What are you looking for?
We are. It's definitely more of a feel. You're just looking for keeping the RPM up. So all the time you can keep the RPM up, then you've got to be going fast, right?
Yeah.
So get the power on early. So don't scrub the front tyres. Try not to punish the tyres.
Mm-hmm.
The least steering input that you can put in, obviously, that means the faster you're going to go. So, try and get it done with as early as you can, so you're not still trying to steer out of the after the apex on the exit of the corner.
Yeah.
So you can get the wheels straight as early as you can to get the exit speed. When
I was a young lad and I was go-karting, my instructor always told me to tuck my elbows in and not steer. Don't turn the steering wheel. Drive it with your butt and the gas and the brake.
Yep, absolutely. So that's an old racing driver, friend of the family years ago. He said, when you go down the straight, if you grip the steering wheel too hard, that's putting all that nervous energy into the front wheels. Just hold it with your thumb and your finger. Just caress it down there. The same rules apply.
Yeah, and then your hands don't hurt after a race.
Yeah, exactly. So it's starting to build up now. Get the speed. To tell, it just seems to be getting a bit quicker. We're covering the ground a bit more, nicely hooking up the apexes there. And it's using all that track.
Yeah.
You paid for it in the entry fee, so you might as well use it.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah. So this is good. This is a lot faster than you think. This left-hander.
Really?
Yeah. I still think there's some ground to make up there.
Is there any particular spot on this circuit that you're uncomfortable with or that is challenging you?
Turn one.
Turn one. Why?
It's fast. It's strange. I think maybe the bridge, the entry into it. Just see the bridge there as you go past it. You use that as a reference type thing, but you can't see the left-hand side. You can't see the apex. It's all it is that rumble strip for the exit of the pit lane. So you've got to try and pick that up. And again, it's a lot faster. We're working on it. As the weekend will go by, it'll get faster and faster. So for personally myself, I think that's where we're going to be making up a bit of time.
There in turn one? Yeah,
it's definitely turn one. And then just generally. Each corner, bit by bit at a time. So look after the tyres. We don't want to scrub them out for the rest of the weekend. We've got a limited amount of tyres, so they're just going to, if we abuse them early on, then that's it.
Well, that's the mark of a good racing driver, is saving the tyres.
We'll have to find one more time. That looks like it's. You just see the ground is moving quite quickly there. So I expect we're starting to get a fair lick on there.
What do you think the fastest point on this track is?
Coming down into turn 4, definitely there. The rev limiter was set actually, and it set the rev limiter relatively low, just to make sure everything was fine when he was testing the car.
Mm-hmm.
And we're hitting the rev limiter probably 500 yards before the corner, so we need to go a bit further on that. And as we build up a bit more speed, we probably will. But I would imagine, I would have said, with the amount of revs and the gearing that's in there, but it's got to be pushing 120 miles an hour.
Oh man!
So
That's fast for a Mini.
yeah. So this is the build up onto that straight. So getting a good exit out of that hairpin is what it's all about. Can't quite see the rev count on there. Right, so yeah, so we're looking for the marker boards on the left hand side.
Now, is this an easy Mini to drive?
It's incredibly easy to drive in most respects, considering it's a new car, so which is a great tribute to what Andy's done building this car.
Yeah.
It's just fine honing on.
Yeah.
There's a few little issues that we need to do on the damper positions, some droop, angles I think are perfect. So it's just set up really just to get that last little bit out of it.
Yeah. And for those of you that don't know, when Nick is mentioning Andy, he's talking about Andy Nelson in Ontario, Canada. He's a gentleman and a very close dear friend of mine who actually built this car.
And he has made a superb job. The finish is exquisite.
Oh, it's like a concourse car.
Yeah.
It's like you almost don't want to race it. It's so pretty.
Yeah, exactly. You can see him taking it very carefully. Looking after his new baby.
Yeah, yeah. If you see this car in person, it's stunning.
It is, and it is a pleasure to drive it. You know, it's lovely that both Andy and Rachel trust me to drive it.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
they put so much effort and time and money into this thing. You know, so and it's a privilege to be asked to come and drive it.
Yeah.
And you know, I think it's the great thing is it's proving itself. You know, so it was the fastest car on the track at the time there, and that's lovely. You know, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
See there.
With the camera angle like that, it looks like you're just sliding through there.
Yeah, it does. It goes ever so light there. You know, that's again we can probably work on that. You ask where can it be a little daunting. So that top of that brow can, because the car goes very very light.
Yeah.
The whole thing just picks up, and you worry there. The only thing you can worry. Same with again here. If it steps out of the back, you know, you whether it's just going to go into violent oversteer, and whether you can catch it. But at the moment it hasn't, so I suppose we'll just explore that. Hopefully not until it...
Well...
Here we're coming up, yeah, there's Mac there, it's just gone past, so cool Mac.
I've been watching you, obviously, and it seems like every time you go out, you pick up more and more and more. Your times keep coming down, down, down.
Yeah, yeah. So, and you know, that's where it gets down to the last little bit. You know, we'll get to a level where it'll plateau out, and whatever that lap time will be. Then that's when the hard work really starts. Where you've got to nibble away at a tenth. When you're talking about instead of a tenth at a corner, you'll be looking at a tenth for the whole lap. And that could be the difference of, you know, pole or not pole. You know, or if we can get, you know, it might be a photo finish across the line, you know, on Sunday, you know, and if we could just eat that last tenth out of it, we can get the width of the paint on the bumper over the line, you know, then that's what it's all about.
Yeah. Well, I guess it all adds up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. It's just accumulation of tiny little bits. So this is that challenging bit there. I think, look, yeah, we've slowed down now, so it's time to probably bring it in again. It's enough, just to bite-sized pieces, you know, for initially just to learn the circuit.
Yeah.
Go back, digest it, find a few little issues, not issues with the car, but just set up improvements that we can make.
Well, you know, not only myself, but I'd say the entire crowd this weekend has been thoroughly impressed by how stunningly fast you were right out of the box in a car you've never driven, a track you've never been on, and you just picked it up so quickly. It's truly a remarkable, Nick. I'm thoroughly impressed.
Thank you. But no, I've had a ball doing it. That's the whole thing. You know, it's a long journey to come over here.
Yeah.
And to come here is just awesome. You know, I mean, the guys at home, all my racing colleagues, will be so jealous.
Oh, well, look at the scenery here. I mean, look at the towers and the clouds, and it looks like a video game.
And we don't get pit lanes like that in the UK. You know? I mean, you know, it's all built up with garages and everything else. So everything's a totally different concept. It's so similar but completely different.
Wow.
It's it's quite.
Well, how big are the circuits in England? How long are they?
Yeah, I mean, it really depends. I mean, you can go from Brands Hatch, which is, you know, little more than a mile. Just whether we have a bit of a collision in the paddock there.
It's a Prius.
Yeah, we're going to T-bone a Toyota on the way in. Yeah, it could be Brands Hatch, which is only, you know, a little more than a mile, or it could be, you know, Silverstone Grand Prix circuit, which is like 4 miles or something. You know, so it's horses for courses. It's just every circuit to suit different tastes. You know?
Now, this one is 2.2 miles. Correct?
Yeah. Yeah. So, and it's not like Silverstone's flat, and there is obviously challenging parts on it, but there's no real sort of scenery, and there's no undulation changes. So here to drive on it, that's why I like it so much, because it's just a roller coaster.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the great thing about it.
Yeah. Well, here you are back in the homestead.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to thank you again, Nick. What a pleasure. You're a real gentleman. I just enjoy talking to you. Hanging out with you this week has just been a blast.
Thank you. Well, I've had a blast, as you would say.
Yeah, so. It's been mega, as you would say. Well, thank you.
Very much.
All right.